Flower Tribe. So I want to take you on a quick walking tour through my secret garden, and we are in July now, and I want to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly about what's going on back here. So let's start off with some of these beauties. So in the back, that's taking up so much real estate here, is Limelight Hydrangea. And I love these guys because they start off kind of this really beautiful creamy white with giant cone-shaped blooms. And these guys will actually turn into like a greener shade. There's a couple up there, you can tell they're starting to kind of dry out on the stem. They get like to be a greener hue with some pink in them. So as the month progresses, I'll see this giant Limelight Hydrangea shrub turn into like a giant green and pink shrub. So this is gorgeous. They make for really great cut flowers, and they make for a beautiful dried cut flower. And right in front of the Limelight Hydrangea are my Black-Eyed Susans. And Black-Eyed Susans are great because they kind of spread out through the years. So this giant patch, it almost looks like a little meadow of yellow. I probably had, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 or 8 plants years and years ago. And what they do is they kind of self-seed. So there's all little seeds in here on the top brown part, and these guys drop to the ground and they spread out. So they'll give me more flowers next year because they self-seeded themselves. So they're like a really great flower to have in your garden if you want a plant that's going to spread out, if you have like a bit more space. Sometimes you'll see these on the side of highways for that reason, because they're super easy to grow, they're drought tolerant, they're gorgeous, they come back every year. So these guys are perennials, which means they come back every year. My Limelight Hydrangeas are perennials that come back every year. And let me see who else is back here. So I've got some of my peonies that are here. Now, if you've been following us, you'll know that the peonies bloom in spring. This was one of my Sarah Bernhardt's, and you'll notice that I left a lot of green leaves on this plant because this plant needs the photosynthesis to feed itself throughout the summer so that it will come back next year. So when I cut off the flowers, I made sure that I left lots of green leaves here so it can continue to feed itself. Who else is back here? I've got a Rose of Sharon. And these guys also spread out, but be careful with the Rose of Sharons. They're really gorgeous. They don't have a great vase life, but they spread out all over the place, almost to the point where they get a little, a little bit too much, where they take up too much real estate because they get to be a really large plant. There's one of my Rose of Sharons here, and this giant one was probably this size just a few years ago. And I think I only planted 1 or 2 on this garden, and now you can kind of tell it's kind of taking over. I'll give you the whole sweeping view right now, and you could tell all the shade, all the different blooms of purple for that Rose of Sharon. They have a knack for just kind of spreading out and plunking down new plants all around them. And then here's more of my Sarah Bernhardt peonies. I've got them all over the place here. I've got a few Endless Summer, I think these are Endless Summer hydrangeas. They didn't bloom. So I have the same issues a lot of you guys have. I hate when they don't bloom. I think what happened is that I might have too much nitrogen in my soil, because if you have too much nitrogen in your soil, you're going to get green leaves, but not blooms. And these guys are like 4 years old already. Sometimes if you have a young hydrangea, it won't bloom because it's too young. But these guys are, like I said, they're a few years old already. So that's not the reason they're not blooming. And I know that there's no like giant trees or plants that are shading this plant, so that's not the reason they're not blooming. So I think I might have to do like a soil test to see if there's too much nitrogen in the soil. So that's on my to-do list. Here's a butterfly bush that attracts tons of pollinators, lots of butterflies. Our honeybees love coming here, but this guy's a little bit burnt out now. It's the end of the season. It used to be really full and purple, but that's the way it goes in the garden. Back here is a crepe myrtle. I love crepe myrtles because they give you giant bursts of color. I have these guys all over the place. You can't use these blooms for vase life because they fall apart because they're on these really thick woody stems, but they do look beautiful in the garden. And these blooms, like these blossoms I call them, they last a long time and they hold up even like when there's a giant rainstorm. These blossoms stay on this tree. It's a crepe myrtle tree. So it's a great plant to have if you're looking for a burst of color in your front landscape and your back landscaping. Back here are my lilac bushes. They're all You know, they've already bloomed, and now they're just the beautiful greens. And then here's more of my giant Limelight Hydrangeas that you all know I adore. This is one of my absolute favorite. I'll take a little close up here. And this is what they look like close up. Okay, who else is back here? So now, you could tell more black-eyed Susans. Once again, I'd say 50% of this little batch over here, this giant batch here, self-seeded itself. I've got more Limelight Hydrangea back there. I've got some weeds I gotta get rid of. More of this Rosa Sharon that's taking over my entire backyard. Here's a ton of Queen Anne's lace. And this, I think this variety, it's either called chocolate. It's a darker, deeper variety. And I actually seeded this a while ago. I didn't see any results the first year, and then maybe I didn't notice them, but then all of a sudden it came back with a vengeance, which I love. And now this guy is also a great self-seeder. So it's just a different variety of Queen Anne's lace. I think it's called chocolate, but I'm not exactly sure, but it's got some sort of like a darker name, like maroon or chocolate. But I do like this for points of interest in our nationwide bouquets. So here's PHLOX. This is a great perennial to have. This is what it looks like close up. Everything in this garden, I should say just about everything in this garden, comes back every year. I'm a big fan of planting perennials because I like to kind of get it in the ground, let it get established, and then not worry about it. I've got daylilies here, and these daylilies were in full bloom just a short while ago, but now they've had their season. But they looked really pretty on the lower part here. And then this guy, I actually got at ShopRite, and he's a creeper. He's gonna crawl up, and I think it's MANDEVILLA. Mandevilla or Bougainvillea, I have to check that out. I'll try to put the right name on the slide right now when I do my edits. But these two I picked up at ShopRite, and they're climbers, so they're going to climb up this trellis because I like different heights in my garden. So that's going to climb up my black wrought iron trellis. And then when you come through here, I have all different layers of my garden. And I've got all different types of hydrangea back here. This is a wine WEIGELA that usually blooms in spring. This whole bush is covered with these beautiful maroon blooms that look like that. And in the summer, they turn green. And then back here, I have some echinacea. My girlfriend Susie got me hooked on echinacea. These are the seeds. Oh, look, there's a little inchworm in there. Hey, little inchworm, you're famous. So each of these, like orangey, spiky things, is gonna be a seed. And these guys are kind of good at reseeding themselves also. So they'll kind of drop to the ground, and then you should have a little bit more of a spread out factor where like more of them will be back the following year. And then there's another hydrangea. Oh, there's a giant bumblebee on this one. Holy smokes, look at this guy. Can you see him? That was pretty cool. Okay, so more hydrangea, and then we've got variegated WEIGELA. I use these in a lot of our nationwide bouquets also as fillers. And who do we have back here? I've got Princess SPIREA. A lot of people use this in their front landscaping. It's kind of burnt out now, but it's got those really beautiful purple petals. And I have a dogwood tree here that when it's in bloom is really pretty. I think it's got pink petals all around it. More Limelight Hydrangea, you guys seeing a pattern here. And then I've got another hydrangea that's not blooming. I know. So I got to do a nitrogen check on this guy. I'm like the shoemaker's wife with no shoes. I'm giving all this advice, and meanwhile I didn't get the soil tested on this bad boy. So hopefully I'll get some blooms out of this guy next year. Over here I have some Joe pieweed, and this is an aggressive perennial that can take over your garden also, but the butterflies love it, and it blooms from June through August, and it loves full sun. This is a white lilac in the spring. This guy has to be weeded. It's a big giant mess. I'm actually very embarrassed to show you this, but I did say I'm going to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So this is the ugly, and I'm not going to fret about it or, you know, get upset, because listen, there's only so many hours in the day, folks, so be kind to yourselves and don't beat yourself over these disasters. These are all weeds, but they smell like licorice, and they're reseeding all over my lawn. So this has to be taken care of, but I'm not going to worry about that today because I'm going to the beach with my family, so that's what I'm concerned about. These guys can wait. And then we've got another lilac back here. Oh, there's a butterfly. You see it? Hold on, I'm trying to zoom in on your butterfly. More crepe myrtle back here. I love crepe myrtle trees for height in a garden. So check this out. Check out how stunning this looks. So this is just 2 or 3 crepe myrtle trees that I put in years ago. They're full grown now, and they just make this stunning backdrop to a garden. And then in front of it you'll see something like that bee balm again, like that purple, and then you'll see some more white limelight hydrangeas. Oh, there's the butterfly again. And then you'll see some other hydrangeas here, which, well, this guy had some blooms, which is good. This was an endless summer, I think, but the blooms are kind of faded out now. So for some reason this guy bloomed and the other one didn't. And then I want to show you where the bees are. So here's our 2 beehives. And we've got one that's super busy and one that's not so busy. We're trying to figure that out today. My friend Sally's coming over today. She's the local beekeeper. I love cool people with cool jobs. So cool Sally's coming over to tell me what's the what with my beehives. Why is there not much action going on here, but there's tons of action going on over here. I'll make a video and show you, because you can see the yellow on the back of their legs is the pollen they're bringing in from the flower farm field. I'll try to get in closer without bugging them. I'm going to be quiet. Hold on. So, and here's the back of the garden. More Limelight Hydrangea. Hello, I know. No problem here. And then, this is a beautiful hydrangea. It kind of turns to like these pink, dried out looking petals. Very pretty, very good for dramatic effect in arrangements. And that's the tour. That's the garden tour for today. Have a great day, Flower Tribe. I'll see you guys in the next video, and please feel free to subscribe to this channel for more garden tours and garden tips. And please leave a comment below if you have any garden questions, or let me know what your favorite plant was and where you're from in this big, beautiful world. See you guys in the next video.